there is a sound the automotive world has been mourning for years: the low, effortless hum of a V12 easing away from a red carpet. Rolls-Royce walked away from it, and so did Bentley and Aston Martin. Now, in an era where silence is supposed to define luxury, Mercedes-Benz is doing something almost rebellious, bringing it back, not as a tribute or a farewell edition, but as a direct, calculated shot across the bow of Rolls-Royce itself. Meet the 2027 Mercedes-Maybach S 780, and if the whispers coming out of Sindelfingen are accurate, this isn't just another flagship refresh. Mercedes is deciding, after years of playing polite neighbor to Rolls-Royce and Bentley, that it's done being the attainable ultra-luxury option. It wants the crown outright. To understand why this matters, you have to understand where the ultra-luxury sedan market actually stands right now. Rolls-Royce has spent the last decade building a fortress around the word presence. The Phantom isn't just a car, it's an arrival. Bentley's Flying Spur plays the gentleman's club card, all warm wood and quiet confidence. Maybach, meanwhile, has spent years standing just outside the VIP rope, respected but never quite invited fully inside. The S780 V12 is Mercedes' answer to that perception problem, not asking to be let into the club anymore, but building its own front door. Before we go further, if you're new here, this is the channel where we break down the vehicles shaping the next era of the automotive world before most people are even paying attention. If you enjoy this kind of deep, no-fluff breakdown, you're going to want to stick around for what's coming. Now, let's actually look at this thing. Start at the front, because that's where Maybach wants your eyes first. The grille is enormous, but disciplined. A vertical wall of chrome slats that doesn't scream for attention the way some modern luxury fronts do. It commands attention instead of demanding it. The headlights are slimmer than the outgoing S-Class, sharper at the edges, giving the front fascia a look that's less corporate limousine and more engineered weapon in a tailored suit. There's a restrained aggression to it, something Rolls-Royce, with its upright Pantheon grille, deliberately avoids. Rolls wants you to feel royalty. Maybach wants you to feel power that shows restraint. Move along the profile and the proportions tell the real story. The wheelbase is long, exaggerated even by S-Class standards, pushing the cabin rearward in that classic chauffeur-driven silhouette. Its character line runs from the front fender to the rear door, subtle, almost invisible in flat lighting, but under a low sun, it carves a shadow down the entire length of the car, giving it a sense of motion even parked at a curb. The wheels, expected in the 21 to 22-inch range, come in a two-tone finish Maybach has become known for, aiming to look expensive without looking loud. That's the tightrope this car walks constantly, wanting to be seen but never accused of trying too hard. Things get interesting at the rear. Slim, horizontal taillights stretch nearly the full width of the trunk, a deliberate visual echo of the front, creating a bookend effect that makes the S780 look wider and lower than it actually is. There's no aggressive diffuser, no motorsport theater, just clean, confident mass. It's a rear end designed to look important in a rearview mirror, which, let's be honest, is exactly where most people will experience this car from. Step inside, and the tone shifts completely. This is where Maybach has always outperformed public perception, and the S780 reportedly pushes that even further. Napa leather, hand-finished wood trim, and brushed metal accents dominate a cabin that prioritizes calm over spectacle. The rear seats, really the entire point of this car, are expected to offer extended recline, calf massage, and a level of acoustic isolation that borders on unsettling. Close the door from a busy street, and it seals shut with a sound like a bank vault locking. Outside noise doesn't fade, it simply stops existing. Mercedes carries its hyperscreen philosophy into this cabin too, but softened and warmed, made to feel less like a spaceship and more like a private lounge. Ambient lighting reportedly shifts across more than 100 configurations, subtly changing the emotional temperature of the cabin depending on the time of day. This isn't a car interior anymore. It's closer to a 5-star hotel suite that happens to move at 60 miles an hour in complete silence. Now, the part everyone's actually here for, the V12. Word from industry insiders points to a revived 6.0-liter twin turbocharged V12, mildly hybridized to satisfy emissions regulations without sacrificing character, producing somewhere in the neighborhood of 630 combined horsepower. That number matters less than what it represents. Rolls-Royce's Phantom uses a V12 that's tuned purely for smoothness, almost detached from performance entirely. Mercedes appears to be threading a different needle, engineering a V12 that can whisper at 20 miles an hour and genuinely pull at 120. It's a statement that Maybach doesn't have to choose between serenity and speed. It can offer both, on demand. Which brings us to price. Expect the S780 to land somewhere between $220,000 and $260,000, depending on configuration, positioning it noticeably below the Phantom's $460,000 plus starting point, while still comfortably above the standard Maybach S680. That gap is intentional. Mercedes isn't trying to outprice Rolls-Royce. It's trying to make Rolls-Royce justify its price tag to buyers who suddenly have a compelling V12-powered alternative for almost half the cost. That's where the real competitive tension lives. Against the Rolls-Royce Phantom, the Maybach can't fully match that untouchable sense of occasion. The Phantom is still, in many ways, the aristocrat in the room. But against the Bentley Flying Spur, the Maybach arguably wins on cabin isolation and technological sophistication. Against the BMW 7 Series, and even Mercedes' own S680, the S780 simply operates in a different emotional category entirely. More theater, more presence, more unapologetic indulgence. Who is this car actually for? This is for the buyer who wants Rolls-Royce levels of drama without fully committing to Rolls-Royce levels of exclusivity and cost. It's for someone who still wants to drive occasionally, not just be driven. The trade-off is clear too. If brand heritage and sheer old money prestige matter more than performance or value, the Phantom still wins that argument, and probably always will. So is the 2027 Maybach S780 V12 a Rolls-Royce killer? No, not literally. Rolls-Royce isn't going anywhere. But this car doesn't need to kill Rolls-Royce to win. It just needs to make a six-figure buyer pause, reconsider, and ask an uncomfortable question they've never had to ask before. Do I actually need to spend double for this feeling? Or did Mercedes just quietly out-engineer the entire ultra-luxury conversation? That's the real disruption here. Not dethroning a legend, but making people question why the throne costs twice as much. Now it's your turn. Would you choose the Maybach S780 V12 over a Rolls-Royce Phantom if the price gap is this wide? Or does true luxury only count when the badge says Rolls-Royce? Drop your take in the comments. This debate is only getting louder from here.